Hey, good morning. My name is Ben. I am an ESG reporting architect at Element 61, and I'm quickly going to show you what you can do with Power BI metrics and with scorecards. So, a scorecard is a collection of several metrics that you can define. It's a feature that allows you to track actuals and KPIs, and you can either manually add those actuals or targets, or you can connect these metrics to underlying Power BI reports, which is a very interesting feature. So I'll just quickly show you how it works. I made a quick workspace. If you click new, then a scorecard is one of the elements that you can add. So we'll do that. I'm going to call this one scorecard 1. And this is the screen that you see. So you can immediately start adding metrics, and I'll just make one to illustrate how it works. So let's say this one is called KPI1. You can define who owns it, who can edit it. Then you can see the current value and the final targets, as they call it. And this is, where the feature gets interesting. So if you click Setup, you can either manually add a value. You can use submetrics. This means that if this is a parent goal and you have sub goals underneath it, it will either sum or average, max or min the underlying actual values of those metrics. So that's really interesting as well. And you can connect to an underlying Power BI report to retrieve the values from this report. And I'll show you how that works. So you click connect to data. I quickly made an example of a Power BI report. It's very rudimentary, but you can just ignore it just for illustrative purposes. So this is an ESG example with some dummy data which I generated. So it shows the actual total emissions of CO2 equivalent for some organization, and it also shows the targets that need to be met. So I have a value. I have a graph like this and this, but I'll just pick this one. So you can retrieve the values from an underlying visual in a Power BI report. So you click on the visual, and there you can choose which values you want to retrieve. So it's now the actuals, so the total emissions that I wanna get, and then you can either choose to track a certain data points, or you can just grab all of the data, and also you can see that it gives you an alert if there are any filters or slicers active. So that'll also influence the data that you're going to get. So if we click connect, then we get the latest value of the time series data, which is the current value at the moment. And for this example, we'll repeat the same steps for our target. So let's connect to data. Example, same visual, targets, all data, connect, and that's it. So it grabbed all the data from the visual. Now you can set up a rule. You can set one up manually, or you can set up dynamic rules. For instance, let's say if we pick a new rule, let's say that if the actual value is bigger than 100% of the target value. In our case with CO2 emissions, that means that we didn't meet our target because we emitted more CO2 emissions than we would have liked. So then we would pick a bad status. Well, this is obviously overdue, at risk, on track, not started. Okay, these are obviously categories that you would use for measuring the progress of some project. But yeah, let's just go for it. Go with this for now. So then it would be overdue. And if we keep below the 100%, then our KPI is on track. So if we click save, then then it got saved. Also, you can change the rules. Oh yeah, now you can't anymore because I configured it like this, but I'll show you in a minute how you can change the different categories. And yeah, last but not least, you can define the start and the due date for this KPI. If you click save, then you get this the saved KPI. And if you click on it, then this right pane pops up. Here you can see a graphical representation of the actuals. If you click this button, then you can see the targets. If we go to history, you can see every value, actual value that is being added on the date. And you can see what the corresponding status was at the moment. So we defined these status rules over here. You can see who changed it and when it was last modified. Here you can see, here you can change the status rules again, which are applicable to this KPI. You can also show the percentage change for example, every so many days or month over month or a cycle to date, or you can just show the change between the metrics two last data points. So if we pick this one and we want to display it as a percentage, then you will see that this value pops up here. So yeah, wait, let me see. Say label. If you add the label, then it shows up here as well. So that's something that you can do. And here at the connections tab, you can see what report it's connected to. You can refresh or disconnect the link with the report for the current or target value, and you can check this box, which states that if you connect to a new report, then it will erase all the values that it has, let's say, imported from this report and start with a new one. So that's also a feature. So yeah, once we saved a KPI, and we are in edit mode right now. It's also interesting to know. So right now we are in read mode. Now you can't change anything. So save button is gone. So anytime if you want to change something, you go up, you go to edit, and then you can start changing stuff. Also, if you're in read mode, some different icons pop up over here. So you can open the report that it is connected to. You can see notes. You can follow this metric. If you go to the notes, note is actually something that you can tie to a certain check-in, as they call it. So for now, we retrieve the actuals and the targets from an underlying report, but we can, for example, create a check-in which for a certain date, and you can include a note in this example. So if we do this, you can see that we started some conversation here on this one, and it shows up over here as well. So you can see that there is one new node added to this metric. So you can discuss with people that are active in this workspace or active in this scorecard on certain check-ins that you did. If you were to completely manually add values, then we would then this check-in would also contain an actual value. But now, because we are connected to an underlying Power BI report, you can just only add comments. And you can obviously also just delete it if you want. Okay, so you can also click this button, follow metric. So let's say if you have like a bunch of KPIs, a lot of them, and you need to track only a few of them because they are important to you. If you click this button and you go to the sidebar to the metrics tab, so this metrics tab just shows all the scorecards and their metrics that you have access to. It's just a collection of all of those. And if you go to following, then this KPI will pop up over here. So this is just a collection of all the metrics where you click the following button, and they'll show up here. So every time an actual changes, it'll pop up here. Yeah, and you can also filter the ones that are assigned to you. So that's also a nice feature. All right, so we'll make another one, and I'll show you how the manual input is done. So let's click the edit button, go to new metric. This is our second KPI. And this time, let's combine manual and a dynamic connection with an underlying Power BI report. So for the current values, we'll go back to our example. We'll take the sum, okay. And for the targets, we are going to add those manually. So there's two things you can do. If you just click manual like this, you can add one target. And also, if you do manual input, you can define if it's a decimal number or percentage or currency. If it's a currency, which one is it? Display value as percentage and so on. So you can change it up like that as well. If we, for example, the current value is 12,000. 10, yeah, 12,000. So we'll just say the final target is 100,000. Not gonna set up rules, just to quickly show you. So you can see that we've set, one target like this, and if we click check-in, you can see that we still can only add a note. That's because the check-ins are meant for manual actuals that are being inputted. So if you want to change the target, then you have to edit the metric. You go to final target, and now let's say no, I don't want one fixed final target. I want several. Then you can click multiple targets, and here you can set multiple targets with different dates. Yeah. So and here you can also define if you want the value on the scorecard. If you view it, do you want to see the final target, so the last one with the last due date, or you want to see the next one which is in line for the next date? So that's also something that you can adjust. And yeah, if you do that, then you'll get this screen again with the multiple targets, only you set them manually. So I think that is a really interesting feature, because Power BI reports don't really, manual input is not something that you can easily do, I guess. So if you want to track KPIs and you want to combine it with some Power BI report, then this is probably the way to go. If there are manual changes that you want to make to actuals or targets, so that's really interesting. I'll just quickly show you how you can how the rollup function works. So let's make a new metric. It's a KPI 3. And here I'm just going to say that the current value is retrieved from the submetrics, and I just want to sum them up. And let's say that the final target is 100, and we save it. Okay, so this one is not, there's no actuals so far. See, if you want to do a check-in now, then it gets this error. So you've selected the date with an existing check-in, saving a new value will override the previous value. So it's can't do it because you selected that you want to roll up, that you are getting the values from the submetrics. So how do you create a submetric? You select the metric, click new, and then you click add submetric. Let's say that this is KPI 3.1. And for each submetric, you can also set targets and actuals, obviously. Yeah? So let's say that this has a value of 20, and this submetric should be 50 at max. Let's put it that way. And you see that the parent goal took the 20. If you do another one, like this, then you see it updates automatically. So you can create layered metrics. You can create layered KPIs with a big parent goal and several smaller ones beneath it. And even these ones can have a sub goal as well, so you can keep going. Actually, haven't tested this yet, so 0.1. Let's see if I pick 10 here. All right, so the parent goal didn't update now, so it only takes the sub goals from one level below, and if those have a sub goal, then this value won't be affected. So you can go really as crazy as you want with this. Okay, and last but not least, there is the settings pane on the right, where you can enable scorecard notifications. So I'm not going to show you now, but if the status changes on one of these scorecards, then you get a message in Microsoft Teams. So that's something that you can enable or disable. You can set within this scorecards permissions, you can add roles, and you can define what those roles can do to which metric or submetric. And last but not least, here is again the settings for the available statuses within the scorecards, and you can change them over here. So as I said earlier, this is more like for project for tracking the progress of some projects, but for tracking CO2 emissions, for example, we would, to keep it simple, maybe have a status that says failed and one that says succeeded. If we get below our threshold of CO2 emissions, so that's one way we could do it. You can click reset statuses as well. Also worth mentioning is that you can automate a lot of these things with Power Automate. So actually, you can auto generate as many of these metrics and submetrics as you want, and I guess that you can also automatically connect them to several sources, or that you can fill in through Power Automate the manual input of those metrics. So there's a lot of automation possibilities as well, which I'm not going to go into detail right now, but just so you know that it's possible. Okay, I think that I showed you most of the functionalities. So to sum it up, I think it's a really nice feature that is very complementary to an existing Power BI report, and it's a functionality that you can't easily do in a standard Power BI report. Because if we go to Power BI, there is only this visual, and it's called the where is it again? This one, yeah, KPI, and it just shows you the last value in the time series, and yeah, the progress of the actuals. Yeah, it's a bit transparent, so you can't see it well, but yeah, this is I guess basically it to show an actual and how it compares to a target value. This is something that I just quickly made. So if you want to visualize it maybe a bit better, then you could maybe do some conditional formatting and see where the actuals are compared to the targets. Then you could maybe try to visualize it like this, which you could do. But if you have many KPIs and sub KPIs and you want to add stuff manually to it, or others can retrieve their values from reports and stuff like that, then I guess this is obviously the way to go to be able to efficiently track them and see where you're at. So I think that's the real strength of Power BI metrics. So yeah, if you have any more questions, feel free to contact me. All right, bye bye.